her she.
Who is she? She could be you, she could be me. Pretty and pink.
No, pretty you think.
She was soft-spoken.
Listen, she was soft-spoken and only spoke when she was spoken to.
She was the innocent type who always did right. Never stepped a foot out of line. She was daddy's little girl.
And yes, of course, she was daddy's little pearl.
Pink fluffy big bears always matched her big dresses and bold shoes. But life was plastic, her makeup drastic. I'll be your Barbie girl, that's fantastic.
She was the centre of attention, so-called leader, put on the front because of course she was that people pleaser.
But it wasn't her fault. She was a good girl.
She was a good girl trying to get hood. Society had her stuck.
Society had her, but it wasn't her fault.
She was lost, confused, internally bruised, her innocence misused.
But it wasn't her fault. She was a grade A student, always kept her head in the books.
But now it all became about image and looks, keeping up appearance, all of this just to be accepted, then to be tarnished as a hoe, a slut, a slag, the local bicycle girl, that's the title she had. Label after label, but she didn't sign that contract.
That wasn't the deal. She never signatured that. It wasn't her fault.
Her fantasy pictures of fiction became her facts. She lived up to that.
Her reflection never recognized her.
Yeah, because she became made up by makeup. Fake nails to match the fake hair. She was a product of the mess she lived in.
And depression was hidden those tight clothes and that cocky little attitude.
And yeah, on the outside, she looked good, like.
But on the inside, she was dying.
A wandering Alice in a land of peer pressure. Adverts reminding her that she needs to do better, look better. Had friends that didn't know better.
Eating from the hand that just wanted to starve her.
Her own opinions didn't matter. It was never the case of mind over matter. They seen her as collateral damage. Don't tell me it wasn't her fault.
She was an adolescent forced into adult lessons. Now, truly, that's a lesson to be learned.
Yes,
no, trust me. It wasn't her fault. She's ready.
Or not. Here he comes.
Her decisions was never consciously made.
Manipulated, and that would be a price that she would have to pay. It was his trick to get her treat.
Gifts after gifts.
Giving many but not receiving any.
Hey, you know something had to be returned.
It was his turn. 2 weeks turned into 2 months.
And she had money in her pocket and gold round her neck and a man to finally call her own. Until...
No, stop.
What do you mean stop? Uppercut face down. She got kidnapped, gang raped, spat and pissed on, torn from the front to the back, swollen between the thighs. Each one of them left a piece of them inside.
Each one of them left a piece of them inside.
Scream my name, you bitch. You know this is what you really wanted.
She never wanted this. All she ever wanted was the occasional hug and kiss. All she ever wanted was a boyfriend that would call her from time to time. But no one ever took the time out to get to know her.
He did. Breathless, she laid there helpless. What she wasn't what she wanted was taken. She cried out for help, but there was no helping hands.
Tears rolled down her high cheekbones. Bones clicked every time she rocked back and forth. Open wounds on her knees clenched to her chest. Brown eyes now bloodshot red. Tears soaking into her sweaty vest. The thoughts of her new life dead.
She thought he loved her, adored her, but I guess these were all things he never meant.
Covered head to toe with an internal dream, now an external nightmare. Realising she became the joker of the pack.
This was a game she thought she could play.
This was a game, and she had the player.
Checkmate. Misleading.
Deceiving.
Self-esteem.
Abusing. Look at me.
No, look at me. It wasn't her fault.
It wasn't her fault.